press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hi students, in the previous video we have discussed about the classification of solids as crystalline and amorphous solids depending on the electrical properties. We have classified the solids as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. In particularly, to understand the semiconductor technology properly, we have taken the new concept as a band theory of solids. As you are knowing well, in atomic theory, in any isolated atom, electron is present in well-defined energy levels called as orbitals. According to Pauli's exclusion principle, every electron is found in a particular orbital that have definite energy, and unique energy we assign there against the energy level in electron volt. If we take for particular orbital, there may be electron possessing energy is unique, a single energy it has. But the same atom when placed in the solid, as the atoms are closely packed and very close to each other, the other atom's electrical field influences on this electron. Neighboring atom's electrical energy influence on this electron, and its energy gets split. It do not remain unique. The number of levels into which it is split here depends upon the number of interacting atoms. More the atoms are interacting with this, more the number of levels split. That means electron can have different energies. Possible energies that it can assign in a particular orbital is called as a energy band. Energy band, the range of energies that an electron can possess in this solid. And this energy band for all orbitals present, from first one, 1s band, 2s band, 2p band, 3s band, 3p, 3d band, so on we can go. But we are more in this unit discussing about the electrical conductivity of semiconductors, for which we need outermost electrons, which are calling as valence electrons in the atom, which are not directly conducting or constitute the current in any solids, but these valence electrons can be made free to constitute the current. However, the easily available electrons from the atom are the valence electrons with minimum energy, they bound to the atom, and those electrons which are called valence electrons can have range of energies in the solid which is calling as a valence band. Valence band is the range of energies that valence electrons in a semiconductor can possess, is called as a valence band. These electrons are bound electrons. They are not conducting electricity at all. But if you supply from external means radiant energy or electrical energy or thermal energy or light energy, that energy gets absorbed by the material and maybe in particular to an electron, and this electron gets sufficient energy. There are two types of bonding. The loss of energy took place to an electron to become member of the atom and in a solid. However, when it becomes free by absorbing energy, then it can assign an energy which is called as the excited energy, and now it is a free. This free electrons in the solid can mobile inside it. By subjecting to the electric field, it can drift and constitute the current. Such electrons which are free from the chemical bonding within atom and free to mobile in the solid is called as free electrons or conduction electrons. For them also, there is a range of energies in which these electrons can have. The range of energies the conduction electrons can possess in a solid is called as a conduction band. there is a gap. The minimum energy necessary to excite an electron from the valence band to conduction band is called as the energy gap. No electron can possess energy in this range. Either it may be in the valence band or it may go to the conduction band. To get conductivity in conductors or semiconductors, electrons must go from valence band to conduction band. These are conduction electrons, constitute current. Electrons in this band constitute current by drift. But the electrons in the valence band cannot constitute current. To make them, to reach that conduction band, the energy that is used we are calling as a forbidden energy gap. Forbidden is clearly implies not allowed. Forbidden energy gap. However, different energies this electron is having in the conduction band, and these electrons, and as I told, once an electron is lifted to the conduction band, in case of intrinsic semiconductor, a hole is generating. Here an electron arises. So the average energy of the holes in the valence band, which is lower energy, higher energy conduction electrons, the average energy of all the electrons in the conduction band of higher energy, and also the average energy of holes in the valence band, take the average of both, we will get a particular energy value called as a forbidden energy level or forbidden energy. Forbidden energy level is the average energy of the free electrons in the conduction band and that of the holes in the valence band, or I can say this is the maximum energy. This is the maximum energy a electron in the semiconductor can possess at absolute zero, that pure semiconductor. An electron in the semiconductor, pure semiconductor at absolute zero can possess an energy that is equal to forbidden energy level. We can define in two ways. It may be asking for 1 mark. Define forbidden energy level. Forbidden energy level, one way is average energy of electrons in the conduction band and average energy of the energies of the holes in the valence band together taken, while what comes is called as a forbidden energy level. Or it is the maximum energy an electron can possess in a pure conductor at absolute zero temperature. How it is? Suppose it may be 1 electron volt, the average energy of all these. If there are 100 different they may have, add those, divide by 100, you will get the average energy of all the holes in the valence band is 1 electron volt. Similarly, average energy of all conduction electrons may be 3 electron volt. Then what is the forbidden energy level is 3 plus 1 by 2 is equal to 2 eV. That is found to be in the middle of the valence band and the conduction band. Average energy of conduction electrons, average energy of the holes in the valence band, get the average of the two, you will get the forbidden energy level. That is found to be in pure semiconductors at the middle of the conduction band and the valence band. So it is most important on the basis of this conduction band and valence band, we classified the material into conductors in which no forbidden gap or conduction band is overlapped with the valence band, we defined it as a conductor, or wide energy gap more than 6 electron volts, thousands of degree temperature or voltage necessary to constitute the current, gap is wide, then we call it as a insulator. The gap is around 1 electron volt, around that, then that gap between the or forbidden energy gap is 1 electron volt. To lift the electron from valence band to conduction band, it requires 1 electron volt maximum. I am saying in around of it. We call it as a semiconductor. In case of germanium, the energy for the germanium is concerned is 0.7 electron volt in case of germanium, and in case of silicon it is around 1.1 electron volt. Different materials have different values. This energy gap, what I am saying, depends on the nature of material. Quite naturally you are seeing temperature may be same for both, maybe for germanium, maybe for silicon, gallium arsenide, gallium phosphide. So different materials will have different energy gap. Energy gap depends on nature of material. The second is a temperature also. As the temperature increases, number of electrons may go due to the thermal energy. That widens the conduction band. Also the number of holes increases, widens the valence band. Conduction band and valence band increases as the temperature increases due to thermal agitation, breaking of chemical bonds between the atoms, and generates electron hole pairs. That increases the number population in the conduction band and valence band holes, and population in conduction electrons in the conduction band, widens the gap, widens the band. Conduction band increases, valence band increases, forbidden energy gap decreases. Please remember conceptually, as the temperature of semiconductor increase, more and more electrons will reach the conduction band and holes generate in the valence band, and widening of the valence band and conduction band take place, and energy gap between those two decreases with increase of temperature. These 2 points remember after knowing what is nothing but valence band, conduction band, forbidden energy gap, forbidden energy level we defined, and this forbidden energy gap depends on material and temperature. As temperature increases, forbidden energy gap decreases. With this information, classification of the solids into conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Now we are entering into the concept of semiconductors. Semiconductors are classified basically into two categories. One, a semiconductor in the purest form called as intrinsic semiconductor or pure semiconductor, without any impurities present in it. Other, to improve the conducting ability, as we discussed in the last class, I told you that addition of impurities increases the conductivity and decreases the resistivity in case of semiconductors. To have a better conducting ability, if we add the impurities, then we get doped semiconductor or impure semiconductor, and are called as extrinsic semiconductors. We have to see both of them detail. Let us take the first one, which is called intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor, a conductor in the purest form without any impurities, is called intrinsic semiconductor. Again, we have discussed about the semiconductor property that is applicable to this. That one, you know, semiconductors are crystalline solids. Remember that semiconductor property here for intrinsic holds good. It is crystalline solid clearly. It is in the fourth group. Position of the semiconducting material are found in the periodic table is in the fourth group, like germanium or silicon. Germanium or silicon, they have 4 valence electrons, tetravalent elements, fourth group elements, FCC structure. That even you take silicon 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2, 3p2. So this 10 and 4. So similarly, if you go here 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p2, 3d10 and 4s2, 4p2. So these 4 valence electrons. And shown the structure here, covalent bond. They are under covalent bond, crystalline structures. So that silicon, if I taken silicon, So it is necessary 4 electrons. It gets from to get the saturation, it shares its electrons with the neighbors and gets stability. Unstability to overcome, it shares the electrons with its neighbors. Necessary 4 electrons it get from the 4 neighbors that we are showing here in this structure. So this silicon, it's a 4 electrons of this 1, 2, 3, 4. Necessary 4 electrons to stabilize itself will share from the neighboring 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thereby gets a stability. Now, this covalent bond is completing. That is the intrinsic semiconductor I am saying in the pure form. When it is taken to absolute zero minus 273 degrees Celsius, all the chemical bonds are completed. No electrons are found free. If I take the band structure in the conduction band, no electrons at all. In the valence band, no holes. No electrons, no holes are found in the no electrons in the conduction band, no holes in the valence band. It is maybe with electrons but no holes. It has only valence electrons without holes, but conduction band is completely empty. And now this intrinsic semiconductor at absolute zero acts as a perfect insulator. Please remember this, a pure semiconductor or intrinsic semiconductor. Because of completing of all chemical bonds, no electrons are let free in the structure. Thereby, conduction band become empty, valence band may be filled without holes, only the electrons. Now it is acting as a perfect insulator, or otherwise at 0 degree absolute, at 0 Kelvin, it is acting as a pure insulator. But as temperature increases, coming to the room temperature around 27 degrees Celsius or 300 Kelvin, at temperature of 300 Kelvin, the thermal energy that is available to the semiconductor, the heat gets absorbed and one of the chemical bond may be broken and electron may get free. The electron may get free, overcoming the energy gap and leave behind a vacancy which is calling as a hole, that we discussed in the last class again. A free electron is generated. This may be the thermal energy given, which may be equal to EV, and a hole is generated and an electron appears in the conduction band. So such many bonds may be breaking and forming is on, they cannot constitute the current unless you apply the external field. It is electrically neutral. Don't think that this electron when separated is not taken out of the crystal. It is still inside the crystal. Only some chemical bonds are breaking and forming together. Formation and breaking is continuous at particular temperature. And number of electrons that may come in the conduction band, is A into T to the power of 3 by 2 into minus delta Eg divided by kT. As the temperature increases, as it is in denominator, this value also increases. It is the energy gap, delta is the energy gap, forbidden energy gap, K is a Boltzmann constant. This gives at any temperature of the semiconductor, if the temperature is 0, no electrons, number is 0. But if semiconductor is at some temperature T, there will be a definite number of electrons in this, called electron density if we take inside the crystal, free electron density in the crystal is Ne, number of free electrons per unit volume at any temperature. Similarly, number of holes generated per unit volume in the semiconductor is Nh. In intrinsic semiconductor, we see that number of electrons equal to number of holes at any temperature, always be equal. Or if you take the ratio at any temperature, Ne by Nh is 1. And I told you the constitution of current that we have taken yesterday in the solid crystal of germanium or silicon. When I supplied the external voltage to this crystal, once an electron hole pair is created, because of positive potential at this end, these electrons are get attracted, and I give an example, hole is not moving independently. It will attract an electron and hole is forming here and electron comes to this end. Again it will form a hole and pull an electron. Trapping of electron from the successor will do and hole will reach the other end virtually, but electrons are coming towards left. Electrons are coming towards left and holes are moving towards right, and current totally constituting by electrons plus holes. The current constituted by electrons plus holes is equal to the main current that established here. These electrons now they may move in the solid outside the circuit through the battery and reach us to this end and recapitulation take place. Again the electrons will run and constitute the current continuously. Because there is an electric field establishes, this electric field established in the direction of the electric field, positive hole is a positive charged character. It is a positive charge carrier also. It moves in the direction of the field constituting the current IH, whereas electrons move in the opposite direction and constitute the current IE. Total is the main current. Or I can write it as, this is current constitution in case of intrinsic semiconductors is by both equally, and also number of electrons equal to number of holes at all time. In a pure intrinsic semiconductor, only the chemical bonds are forming, holes and electrons are observed only with thermal energy at any temperature. And coming to the other also equation may be written E into, sometimes in entrance it is more important to know NH minus NE divided by T. Or if you take absolute, because I taken E is positive for holes and negative for electrons. If you make it only the magnitude, then you have to take plus. But actual equation is written with the sense of charge nature. Charge nature for holes is positive. Charge nature for electrons is negative. Ne, population of electrons per unit volume, it is holes, and this equation gives you the current in the intrinsic semiconductor. However, conductivity is small, resistance is high at ordinary room temperatures. If you see at absolute zero, resistance become very high and it acts as a insulator. And also I discussed in the last class about the drift velocity of electrons. As electrons are having less mass, positive holes are having heavier mass, larger mass compared to that of electrons. Drift velocity is less for holes than electrons. And mobility concerned, mobility of electrons is 2 times that of holes in case of germanium. Mobility, drift velocity per unit applied field. The drift velocity those electrons or the holes acquire per applied electric field is called mobility. This mobility of electrons is higher compared to that of holes, double the mobility of holes in case of germanium for the electrons. That is same in case of silicon, it is comes to be around 4 times that of the mobility of the holes for the electrons. Therefore, many cases I am saying we prefer the silicon. We prefer the silicon in that case. This is about intrinsic semiconductor, including the property just what we have studied as a semiconductor. When we talk about semiconductors, they may be classified into two categories, pure and impure. Pure semiconductor without any impurities are called intrinsic semiconductors. They are crystalline solids, covalent bond they are having, and also they are tetravalent elements. Fourth group in the periodic table they are assigned with, and FCC structure they have chemically, if you see. But at absolute zero, if you look into the semiconductor, the conduction band is completely empty, valence band is completely filled with electrons but no holes. All bondings are completed, interatomic bondings are complete. No electrons are free for conduction. Even subjected to the external applied voltage does not constitute current because no carriers available at that temperature. And electron hole pairs only can generate by thermal energy is in pure semiconductors. We cannot see electrons or holes independently. And this, if you are appearing, means that is due to thermal energy. As the temperature increases, electron hole pair may be generated, breaking the atomic bonds. These atomic bonds, when broken, or energy supplied is higher than the energy gap. That I told you in case of germanium is around 0.3 or 0.7, or it is in case of silicon it is 1.1 eV. So many electrons, how many electrons we can see I given in the previous expression. And at any temperature, number of electrons and number of holes are found to be in equal number. They are equal in number, the ratio is 1, mobility of electrons is high compared to that of holes, that also different in germanium and silicon. Better conduction is possible with electrons and with a silicon crystal. And current constituting in semiconductors intrinsic is both equally current by electrons and by holes. And we can have these simple equations here. And conductivity is less. Conductivity is less. It cannot be employed as any semiconductor devices to operate. Therefore, to improve the conductivity, we add impurities to the semiconductor. So the process of adding desired amount of impurity to the pure semiconductor under controlled amount, we call it as a doping. Doping means adding impurity to a pure semiconductor. Simple words I can say. A desired impurity can be added with the required amount. Desired quantity we can add with a pure semiconductor. To a pure semiconductor is called as a doping process. Such a semiconductor or resulting crystal from this process we call it as a doped semiconductor. Added impurity is calling as a dopant. Dopant, they have been classified into two categories, how and see, others we can talk, but I conclude intrinsic semiconductor or semiconductor, no difference. But one thing, you may have chance of asking in the examination the two questions here. Maybe in 1 mark or 2 marks, there may be comparison between the conductors and semiconductors if the question arises. Please remember here, conductors and semiconductors, conductors have good electrical conductivity, whereas of semiconductors have conductivity in between that of conductors and insulators. Resistance property, if you come directly to that, resistance increases with the increase of temperature linearly. I shown in the graph in the last class, I versus V, if we plot it is a straight line, linear in case of metals, metallic conductors, but in case of semiconductors, it is a non-linear variation. I versus V, we shown that curve is non-linear. So that here resistance decreases with increase of temperature exponentially. In case of conductors, increases with increase of temperature linearly. Addition of impurities, in case of conductors resistivity or resistance increases, but in semiconductor decreases, that we are taking advantage to get the extrinsic semiconductor. And metallic bonds we see in case of conductors, here we are seeing the metallic bonds here we are seeing it is under the covalent bond. Even at absolute zero, it acts as a conductor, the metallic conductors, but pure semiconductors, they cannot act as conductors, they act as insulators. Pure semiconductors, I am telling, they are acting as insulators. As far band gap is concerned, almost zero band gap in case of metallic conductors, but there is a gap of around 1 electron volt, narrow gap of around 1 electron volt we see in case of semiconductors. Electrical conductivity in conductors is purely by free electrons, but in case of semiconductors it is by both electrons as good as holes. With this idea, let us come to the thinking of about the extrinsic semiconductors. Now we have the crystal structure of the silicon. Silicon I am now coming to. I hope you are understood intrinsic semiconductor and comparison between the conductors and semiconductors. Now extrinsic semiconductor, I told, it is obtained by adding impurities. This may be desired impurity can be added to the required amount. We cannot add any amount, or we cannot add any element, atoms of any element. There is a limitation, because the crystal structure should not be damaged of the original crystal. That means germanium or silicon, if you taken to get the extrinsic semiconductor or doped semiconductor, the size of the atoms of the germanium or silicon and that of the impurity atoms almost be same. You cannot take any size atom and put into the germanium or silicon. It does not permit. Crystal structure damage, it cannot act as semiconductor further. The size of atoms of the crystals, semiconductor crystals, must be same as that of the, almost same as that of the adding impurity atoms. So we have to select that desired atom or desired elements should have the atoms of that same size. Any amount cannot be added. The maximum amount impurity can be 1:10 power 8. This may be again 10 power 0, which is 1 for one atom. For one impurity atom can be added against either 10 power 8 germanium or silicon. Maximum I tell you. I am telling about maximum number. So there is very minimal amount. Millions of atoms of germanium or silicon, one impurity atom can be added. If we add more, then again it damages the crystal structure. Therefore, two things you remember. Atomic size of the impurity atoms must be of the order of the crystals, which we are converting into intrinsic to extrinsic. Number two, the percentage of adding is very, very minimal. For millions of atoms of the crystal, one impurity atom can be added. Even think how much conductivity it can be varied. Why it varies and how it varies, let us see. So we are adding one impurity atom for about 10 power 8 germanium or silicon atoms, if you assume. So this I can add. There are two types of extrinsic semiconductors comes. I told you doping is a process of adding impurity. Dopant is added impurity and doped semiconductor is an extrinsic semiconductor. Under consideration of these two conditions, taking in mind the atomic size, we can add the atoms in the fifth group or the third group. Thereby two types of extrinsic semiconductor available. If we add pentavalent impurity or fifth group element as an impurity to this fourth group element, we get N-type semiconductor. How and why we see later. The other is third group element atoms can be added to the fourth group as impurity, then we get P-type semiconductor. Now I am talking about N-type semiconductors. N-type semiconductors. To get N-type semiconductor, we can add pentavalent impurity atoms such as arsenic or phosphor, like that, or antimony or bismuth, fifth group in the periodic table. I can add here phosphor because very near to the silicon. Phosphor has 5 valence electrons, phosphor 15. So this out of 5 out of phosphorus 5 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 share the electrons with these neighboring silicon atoms, and 4 silicon atoms get saturated and get stability. But here the 5th electron of the phosphor is remained out. This 5th electron is not finding the bonding, atomic bonding in the crystal. 4 will be shared with the neighbors. If I got the picture of semiconductors band theory, it is the conduction band and is the valence band. Now, to understand, I tell you that whenever a free electron, if you assume it is a nucleus, to become the member of this, to go around a member of the atom, it has to give energy to the nucleus, this free electron. Conduction electron, you think like a free electron. This electron loses energy and come down. So much energy is lost to become the member for a particular atom, let it be phosphorus. Now the position of this is like that. It lost energy to them. But it has to form the chemical bonding, means to form the chemical bond also it lost some energy. Thereby it comes to the here. These electrons, particularly what I am saying, 4 electrons of phosphor, when they form the bond with the neighboring 4 silicon atoms, these 4 electrons come down. For example, if you take, then this electron may be friendship with this parent nucleus. It is not having any atomic bond with the neighbors. One energy is less. That means this electron, however, given energy to become the member of the phosphor member, it is no doubt in the crystal, but it is not have bond with any neighbors. Thereby it find a new place in the energy gap. Even at 0 Kelvin, if you go, even at 0 Kelvin, this electron will find a new place. That means energy of this lies very near to conduction band, around 0.01 electron volt, very near to the conduction band below. At 0 Kelvin, I am saying at 0 Kelvin, the electron is found to be these electrons of phosphor, impurity atoms. Let us see earlier, when in intrinsic semiconductor, there are no electrons at all. At 0 Kelvin, we are not finding any electron in the conduction band, no holes in the valence band. But when I added impurity 1 impurity when added, 1 electron is available in the lower band than conduction band, higher than valence band energy, lower than conduction band energy, the electron find a place. Suppose if you have a 1 mole of this silicon. How many 1 mole? Avogadro number 6, you leave it. 1 mole contain 10 power 23. 1 mole, if I added 1:10 power 8, that means 10 power 8. 1 impurity atom of phosphor I have to add. In 1 mole, how much I can add means, for 1 phosphor I need a 10 power 8 silicon. For 10 power 23 silicon atoms, how many impurity atoms is available here? 10 power 23, if we cancel, it is around 10 power 15 impurity atom. That means we are adding 10 power 15 for 1 mole of silicon crystal. That means you are getting such large number of impurity electrons. What is the energy necessary to make them to conduct? I hope you have understood the 2 energy concept I told. the electron will lose to become the member in the crystal of silicon of the impurity atom, part of energy to become the member of phosphor and part of energy to become the member of the crystal to form the bonding with the silicon. But here silicon bonding is absent, because of that it cannot come to the valence band, or it is not free, it can go to the conduction band. At absolute zero, when you think absolute zero, no electron still even in the n-type semiconductor. But there may be 10 power 15 impurity atom per 1 mole of silicon. At the rate added 1 atom for 10 power 8 silicon atoms, 10 power 15 electrons are found in the gap between the two, very just below the conduction band. But what is the energy necessary? At room temperature, when it comes to almost these electrons will reach the conduction band, and population is about 10 power 15. This Ne is 10 power 15. No holes are there here. Impurity atoms donated for electrical conduction. Once the electron come to this level, it is a conduction electron. I told you bound electron to phosphor cannot conduct. That is these electrons which are in this level called donor level, which donates electron for electrical conduction. Called as the donor impurities and donor electrons, and level that come into existence for these donor electrons or impurity atoms electrons is called donor level. But at room temperature, almost these electrons are found here. Due to thermal agitation, some bonds may be broken here, and suppose here one bond, it may be going free to the conduction band, and this bond broken, and this electron may reach and creating a hole. One hole is created and one electron is reaching. Let us think another 10 power 2 electrons are reached by thermal agitation at the available temperature, as we previously discussed, like intrinsic. Here may be around 10 power 2 number of holes. I am giving example to understand. How many here? That is a large number. Here it is just 10 power 2 100 holes. There may be millions of electrons. They are the charge carriers. Just when I take this semiconductor which is doped with pentavalent impurity and connected, this is what I am calling as n-type semiconductor connected. What we are seeing is population of electrons is very large, but holes are very less. Contribution is no doubt by both maybe, but current is majorly by the electrons. Holes current is very less. Ne, number of electrons, number density available per unit volume is becoming very, very large compared to that of holes. As electrons are the majority charge carriers which are responsible for constitution of current in the semiconductor, this dope, we call it as the n-type, because electrons are negatively charged carriers, n-type semiconductor. But think, we are added neutral phosphor or arsenic, or it may be antimony or bismuth. Neutral atoms are added to the crystal. Therefore, still the n-type semiconductor is electrically neutral. But at 0 Kelvin, pure semiconductor is an insulator. But it is not now insulator. It conducts, because the energy to take them, when I applied the external potential, that is easily can push the electrons to the conduction band and conduction starts. Therefore, I say this even at 0 Kelvin, doped semiconductor or extrinsic semiconductor behave as a semiconductor, it is not an insulator. There is a small difference in semiconductors, intrinsic to extrinsic. Basically observed, adding impurity, pentavalent impurity when you add, like arsenic or phosphor, antimony or bismuth, out of 4 valence electrons, out of 5 valence electrons, 4 shared with the neighbors and 1 is left free. So this free electron at 0 Kelvin, when you think, that cannot find in the conduction band, even not in the valence band, it find a place in between very near to the conduction band, and we see that these electrons number is very large. Even we are introduced the impurities at a very low magnitude. For millions of atoms, one impurity atom, even in 1 mole, we get billions of electrons free. Electrons free that easily donate the electrons for conduction. Population of free electrons is very high compared to the holes. As electrons are negative charge carriers, the name is put as N-type extrinsic semiconductor. As we neutral atom added, still N-type semiconductor is electrically neutral. Remember, Ne by Nh, if I take Ne by Nh is always greater than 1. But as temperature increases, this ratio decreases to some magnitude, but still remains this greater than 1 at any temperature. But as temperature, what happens to the ratio means it decreases in case of N-type semiconductor. This is what we talked about the N-type, adding pentavalent impurity. Let us talk about the trivalent impurity. So how to get the trivalent p-type semiconductor, adding trivalent impurity. So the same here. So in case of this, instead of pentavalent impurity like arsenic or antimony or bismuth or phosphor, if we added trivalent impurity like aluminium, gallium, indium, titanium, like that, where there are 3 valence electrons, that aluminium 13, whereas silicon is 14, 1 less. That means if I replace one atom in the same ratio, 1 impurity atom for 10 power 8 silicon, 1 impurity of aluminium added. If I added aluminium, what happens now? There are only 3. Earlier was easy. But now 1 atomic bond is incomplete. This will not be completed. It remains open. A whole vacancy is remained in the aluminium. So the 3 completes the bond, and if energies of these, if you see, conduction band and the valence band, energy gap. Now I told already that all the 3 electrons are formed the bond with neighbors. No doubt these aluminium's free electrons now found in the valence band, no doubt. But this is a natural vacancy. Because of this vacancy, more instability for this silicon, which is having an incomplete bond. These are happy, they are completed the bondings. Compared to these 3 silicon atoms, this silicon atom is appear to be less stable. It wants to get stability by trapping an electron by either passing by or getting from the others. For example, you take here, there is another aluminium atom. Similarly, there is a bond broken here, electron, and here may be silicon, and this is incomplete, electron is here, this hole, like that. Think about this hole can be filled by easily. Getting an electron from this bond is difficult. It has to break the chemical bond and also pluck up from the silicon or aluminium atom and get this electron. But this bond is already open and I can get the electron easily to this, from that. Already the silicon electron of another is bound, but atomic bond is incomplete. In 10 power 8, 1. But you think about in 1 mole of silicon, there are 10 power 15 aluminum atoms, 10 power 15 such incomplete bonds exist. Out of these bonds now are incomplete, and 10 power 15 along with the aluminum, silicon atoms are less stable. To get stability, there will be a fighting among each other, and the incomplete bond electrons are easily can be trapped by these holes, means the energy necessary to trap is only to take off from the silicon, not by breaking the bond. Breaking the bond, some energy required, and get the electron from silicon, energy required. But only now one job has to do. I hope you are understanding. To get an electron from this, what duty is? First I have to break the bond, and also I have to break the energy, I have to supply to free from the silicon, and it become free and come to this. But here not necessary to break the bond, it is open. One energy enough to separate it from the silicon and get it done. That energy is minimum, that is equal to almost the holes weight where the electrons available, because this is a valence electron. This is a valence electron. To get valence electron, if you want food, where you have to go? Where the food available. Like here it wants electron, means where it electrons get? Only the valence electrons. So these valence electrons are found in the valence band. Therefore energy necessary to get them is around 0.01 electron volt. I told another example here only how much what happens to the crystal structure I can say in the middle. One example, you are adding water to the milk. Small amount of water added, nothing, milk will remain as a milk. Suppose you add more and more water, one stage will reach, it become water rather than milk. Like here, we cannot add more number of impurities so that crystal structure should not damage. It should remain and its properties should remain same. Only electrical conductivity to increase without damaging the crystal structure. Size of atoms are similar to that, therefore either trivalent or pentavalent impurity adding. Now we are discussing the trivalent with small amount of impurities. But even for 1 mole of silicon, when I add it to the order of 10 power 8 silicon 1 atom, you have 10 power 15 holes. You see the magnitude of the holes present. At 0 Kelvin, no electrons in the conduction band of this p-type semiconductor, no holes in the valence band, holes are purely existing here. They are ready to accept the electrons from these silicon atoms, valence electrons. Therefore, these vacant, but small rise in temperature is enough, small applied field is enough to trap the electron from the silicon atoms of the crystal of this type, and holes generated in the valence band. How much? All these holes are replaced by these. Now this become neutral and holes exist in this without any electron in the conduction band, because that hole generated, this is trapped. 2 holes we see, but here 2 holes we see but no electrons. Electron is trapped. Thermal agitation also, that means I say now it is around 10 power 15 holes generated. For example, take thermal agitation, some bonds may be broken, hole and electrons may generate. Let it be some holes generated with electrons coming to this, maybe 10 power 2 number of electrons obtained, 100 let it be. Here also plus 10 power 2 holes comes, because breaking of bonds, hole and electron pair starts. Here no breaking of bonds, only impurity, valence electrons of the silicon got trapped by the impurity atom. Thereby number of holes become very, very high compared to electrons. And current is constituting purely by holes maximum. Current by holes. Holes are considered as the positive charge carriers. As they are the positive charge carriers, we say that p-type semiconductor, positive charge carriers are the majority carriers, and there may be some minority carriers, electrons, whereas in n-type majority carriers are the electrons, but minority carriers are the holes. Their number is very less, around 10 power 2, here it is around 10 power 15 and above. So hole contributes, and in this case Ne by Nh, if you observe the ratio, it is less than 1 always, but as the temperature goes on increases because of thermal agitations, slightly this increase, whereas in N types this ratio decrease. In case of impure semiconductors or pure semiconductors or intrinsic semiconductor, at any temperature Ne by Nh is 1. For N type it is more than 1, for P type it is less than 1. But as the temperature increases, we are seeing slight changes in the ratio. In case of intrinsic, no changes. In case of extrinsic N type, this ratio slightly decrease. In P type it will increase. So thus we get P type semiconductor adding trivalent impurities even at 0 Kelvin, as I suggested. Small applied potential difference is enough to trap the electron from the silicon atoms and gets complete saturate, and holes appear here and they start constituting the current in the circuit. Even at 0 Kelvin it behaves as a semiconductor, not as an insulator. Now we have summarized here too what are intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductors. Along with P type and N type semiconductors, I will take a PN junction in the next class, but I conclude here the comparison. First, in one comparison I did, was about the conductor and semiconductors. Another differences or comparison asking about intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. So before that, this accept electrons, I forgotten to tell you, accept electrons, this is called as a acceptor level, and forbidden energy level now in between these two, very close to, in between acceptor level and valence band, forbidden energy level. Forbidden energy level in impure semiconductor is at the middle. In N type it is between the donor level and conduction band. Here it is acceptor level and valence band. Forbidden energy level exists. Let us comparison with intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. In intrinsic semiconductor is a pure semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor is a doped semiconductor with impurities. One difference. If you see the population of electrons and holes at any temperature always equal, number of holes equal to number of electrons in case of intrinsic. In extrinsic they are not equal. Maybe electrons more in N type, holes more in P type. But we say in simple word that is not equal. Ne is not equal to Nh in case of extrinsic, Ne equal to Nh in case of intrinsic. So both contribute equally for current, electrons and holes. Not so. Here either the electrons or holes contribute for the current. Fermi energy level we discussed is exactly at the middle of the conduction and valence band in intrinsic semiconductor. In extrinsic semiconductor, it is near to conduction band or near to valence band. Fermi energy level, average energy of electrons and holes in the semiconductor is near to conduction band in N type, near to valence band in P type. But in intrinsic, it is exactly at the center of the forbidden energy gap or in between the conduction and valence band. And no energy levels visible in case of intrinsic semiconductor. But here we see donor level in N type, acceptor level in P type. We see the two different levels are coming into existence. Intrinsic semiconductors are insulators at 0 Kelvin. Here they are still acting as semiconductors. They cannot act as devices. By improvement of conduction, some modifications we do, suitable combination we do, diodes, PN junction, transistor can be designed by these extrinsic semiconductors. We can design the devices to operate extrinsic semiconductors, but we cannot use pure semiconductor as a device. These are the basic classification between the intrinsic and extrinsic. Please remember, once again I summarize, intrinsic is pure, extrinsic is doped with impurities. In intrinsic, number of holes equal to electrons, here they are not equal. Fermi energy level exactly in the middle of the forbidden energy gap, but it is either in case of extrinsic, either close to the conduction band or valence band. And the donor level or acceptor level appear in extrinsic, but no such level exists in intrinsic semiconductor. At absolute zero, perfect insulator is intrinsic, but it is a semiconductor. Intrinsic cannot be used directly as devices to construct, but P and N type, by suitable combinations, we can design the electronic devices like PN junction or transistor, which are having wide application in different electronic fields. This is the basic difference between intrinsic and extrinsic conductors and semiconductors. Coming to the P type and N type may also ask you. Intrinsic semiconductor, when added impurity, become extrinsic. When you add pentavalent impurity like arsenic or phosphor or antimony or bismuth, pentavalent impurity added, it become N type. If you added trivalent impurity like the aluminium, indium, then it become P type. Majority carriers in N type are electrons, here they are holes. Minority charge carriers in N type are holes, here minority carriers are electrons. Forbidden energy level is close to conduction band in N type, near the valence band in case of P type. Forbidden energy level is shifted. We are seeing donor level just below the conduction band in N type, acceptor level just above the valence band in P type. P type. This is the basic difference between the P type and N type semiconductors. How PN junction may be designing and its characteristic, IV characteristic in the forward bias and reverse bias and applications we have to see. As such, P type and N type are not employed as a devices. By suitable combination with a special technique, we are designing the two devices like PN junction diode and transistors, which can be used as devices in electronic circuits. We have to discuss those, but this is important part of the basic classification of semiconductors into intrinsic, extrinsic, and also the P type and N type, who are the majority carriers and minority carriers you come to know. And finally, I just tell you about the equations which we are using oftenly in these classes. So, however, electrical conductivity, when you come to, in case generally I am writing Ne into mu E plus NH into mu H, electrical conductivity in semiconductors. It is the electronic charge numerical value, Ne population, mu E is the mobility of electrons, population of holes, mobility of holes. If it is intrinsic semiconductor, both are equal. I am saying Ni, I am writing it as Ni into E into mu E plus mu H is the equation in case of intrinsic. If it is a P-type semiconductor, it is important for entrance concern. P-type semiconductor, then I can write it is NH into mu H into E. Whereas in case of N-type semiconductor, Ne mu E into E gives you this equation. And that also remember, in case of intrinsic, I given you IE plus IH or E into NH minus Ne by T is the expression for current. These equations you remember for yours, particularly for entrance purpose, and theory what I explained conceptually you have to remember correctly, because in entrance both concept based or formula based questions are coming in NEET or JEE. But board exam concerned, these equations are not important. For entrance concerned, they are equally important here. So with this I conclude today. Let us start the next class with PN junction, an excellent device which is using in electronics widely. Thank you.